Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I'm honored to be having with me over the program for tonight in the studio engineer Mostafa and Nagary, the Vice Chairman of the Egyptian Exporters Association and the economic and development expert. Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Ahmed. It's a pleasure to be with you once again.
The pleasure is all mine. Of course, we have had a number of important topics and events that took place for today. One of them is the participation of Prime Minister Dr. Mostafa Madbouli on behalf of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Plus Summit taking place in China, along with an invitation by the Chinese President. How do you see the importance of the participation of Egypt being represented by Dr. Madbouli on behalf of President al-Sisi?
Well, I can tell that Egypt have been always in equal distance between all the economical blocks all over the world. So I think that there is a restructure in the global economy, and Egypt is a player in the area. We are well located in the trade road, as we say, and accordingly we are, of course, as we mentioned, we should be invited for that because we are one of the main players in the area. On the other side, we are, of course, hoping to keep a very good relation with all the economical blocks everywhere. We remember that when President Trump have set a list of import duties, tariffs, Egypt was on the least group of the countries. So that means that the relation is very important. To keep a good relation, economical relation and political relation is very important. We see that that the geopolitical crisis and the global crisis everywhere are trying to, if we can, interrupt the trade movement and the economy and the investment. That's why Egypt is, although we are in an area that, which we call it is blowing area, but at the end Egypt is still attractive, and that's why we will see that the central bank last Thursday have cut off the interest rate, because there is a feeling that the economy is moving on and the inflation rate is decreasing. So it is very important to be joining these events. We have been joining before the BRICS, we have been joining the European Union trade agreement. We are a big player in Africa, either through COMESA or through the SADC or through the continent trade agreement. With the Arab Trade League agreement, Egypt was one of the founders and the initiatives. So I think that we are always there. Egypt, as we say, is always a place which you can depend on and you can have as a hub for a trade. We can also, as it was mentioned, that we can be not even talking about the Egypt initiatives or privileges, but we can also talk on behalf of the continent.
Yes.
So Egypt is a big part, I think, in this summit, and I think that the outcomes of these meetings and summits is very important nowadays.
On a more selfish note, because we could be speaking about the benefit for Africa, for the Arab world, for the Middle East, but what about Egypt, in your opinion, to be participating at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Plus Summit, of course, through Prime Minister Dr. Mostafa Madbouli on behalf of President al-Sisi, on the diplomatic, on the political, on the economic levels? What can be gained by Egypt?
Of course, as we know that China is one of our main partners, either in investment or in the trade agreements. China as a country have a policy which is trying to attract the Chinese investors to go out China. It's called Go Global. It's well known, and they are trying to assist many of the industries which is not needed, or maybe China have lost a bit of their competitiveness about it, they are trying to send it out to try to search for another better environment, economical environment. And many of the Chinese companies are coming day by day. Sometimes that we feel that it is a little bit hard to afford the big areas they are asking for. But as it was mentioned also in the telephone presentation of my colleague, yes, that they are trying more and more to be at Egypt at the time being. We have to mention as well the Suez Canal district. They have a big area for China specifically, and I see that in several fields like textile, like fertilizers, like green ammonia, solar energy, they are always there, and I think that China will be one of the biggest players in the economy in Egypt in the coming 2-3 years.
On the other hand, the G20, the meetings taking place here in Egypt, this is a historic step, a historic move, because this is the first time ever to be holding such a meeting outside of the G20 members or the G20 countries. Why did this happen?
As I mentioned, that there is restructure of the global economy, and the main players are trying to attract, you know, like as we say, another assistance to them. So I think that there is, as you mentioned, political relation between Egypt and China, which is increasing day by day. And I can also mention that the trade is increasing a lot. And I think that, you know, even joining the BRICS, it was a cause of the big influence of the dollar in the global economy, and there was a try to curb this big pressure of the dollar on many of the economies. So Egypt also one of the players in these scenarios, but at the end we didn't lose the trade with the US, yes, or with other countries.
There's always a balance.
Leading. There should be a balance. It's yes, a delicate balance, as we say. Everybody should play the delicate balance in the economy and in the politics nowadays.
Speaking of the G20 meetings that are taking place here in Egypt from the 1st until the 3rd of September, what does this say about the potential of economic development, of economic cooperation between Egypt and the G20 countries?
As we have seen lately that the competitiveness is a very important word at the time being, and the interruption in the supply chain also was a big issue in the last 6 or 7 years. Okay, so if we say that Egypt is well located and it is easy from Egypt that you can transport to most of the world. Nevertheless, what is happening on the Red Sea at the time being, but in general, we are well connected to Africa, well connected to the Latins, well connected to the US, to Europe, to Russia, to the Euro-Asian blocks. So I think that we have seen that Egypt is very close to the markets, and as maybe we mentioned before in another before programs, that the trade now is moving near to the markets, is trying to come more closer to the markets, and that's why Egypt was one of the countries that is really promising for all investors and all manufacturers to come and to try to invest here, as well as Morocco, as well as South Africa. We mentioned that these 3 countries have a potential for that, but Egypt have shown much faster movement in that. We don't have to forget that the Egyptian pound exchange rate against the dollar is almost stable, more or less for the last 2-3 months. It have gained more.
Yes.
So I think that the stability of the exchange rate with the decrease of the inflation, with giving a sort of promising environment for everyone to come to invest. On the other side, that the competitiveness, as I mentioned before, is decreasing in several countries, like in the European Union. The cost of the power is very expensive. The cost of transport, the cost of labors, everything is increasing. So that's why the prices of the commodities or the services are getting higher and higher. And everybody wants to have a cheaper services or cheaper prices to offer. So that's why Egypt is having we have a land also.
Yes.
Not many countries have a possibility for a land.
Have the capacity to build.
Yes, yeah. So that's why we have some challenges as well, like water, like of course in the power, but we are moving very fast in the renewable energy to produce electricity and other means. But on the other side, we see that according to the exports, which is increasing a lot.
Yes.
And we are trying to minimize imports as well. Production is increasing in several items in the country.
And to be localizing some industries as well here in Egypt. But one of the main decisions economically took place for the past week is to be cutting and slashing the interest rates by the Egyptian Central Bank by 2%. Correct. Why now at this stage?
It is the proper time, because as we say, most of the central banks all over the world is having a key concern which is the inflation. So the inflation, everybody is fighting the inflation because it is, if we say that this is the disease and there is some symptoms like unemployment rate or the interest rate or the inflation or the devaluation of the currency. This is all connected all together. And we have seen that we have been stable. We don't have to forget that in March 2024, the IMF have mentioned that the inflation in Egypt have reached 35%. Okay, now we are almost about 25%. While most of the economical experts, we expect by the end of the year to come between 15 to 20, which is a big jump, but it is not the end, because most of the world, they are having a level of 3 to 4% or from 2 to 4%, if we can mention as an inflation rate. This is the normal inflation rate all over the world. But we have faced a lot of problems. We have been talking a lot about what happened in the geopolitical problems, in the COVID-19, in the Russian-Ukrainian war. But we see that we have overcome and we have moved and we are on the better way. So cutting the interest rate, of course, as everybody knows, it will facilitate the spendings, facilitate lending money, trying to encourage the investors to come and to produce more and more. So it is the proper time as the inflation is going down.
Does this mean that Egypt's economic drive will be affected positively for the future?
Of course, we always have a big hope for that, because what we are saying is a reaction of what we see abroad.
Yes.
Okay, so still there is a lot to do in the country, but we have the infrastructure, if we say. So we are moving in several fields, as we mentioned, that central bank is having a rational monetary policy, if I can say,
yes,
because they are trying to reduce and trying also to give financial initiatives to main fields like industry, like agriculture, like some services like tourism, that they are trying to assist these sectors because they believe that these sectors can lead the economy for a better grade. So at the time being, we see that from January until end of July, there was most of the sectors have achieved about 15% increase than the same period of 2024, which is giving a better result. Of course, the indirect investments have been reaching about 11 or 12 billion dollars, and we are still waiting for some investments coming from Qatar, from other countries. We believe that we will reach about 22 to 23. We are waiting to see the reaction of the Shanghai summit as well, because every day there is something attractive for our economy, which we can talk about more and more.
You mentioned the broader monetary policy strategy of the Egyptian Central Bank and the Egyptian Ministry of Finance. How do you think it will be changing for the upcoming fiscal year, to say the least?
I think they are focusing on the several items, okay? There is a variety of items which is affecting any central bank decision, if we can say. So, of course, the inflation and the global economy and the supply chain interruptions, the geopolitical problems in the area, or the global crisis. So that's why we call it always, it's a delicate balance. So you have, in a certain time, the central bank have increased the interest rate to try to curb the pricing, okay? Now they are trying to decrease and try to facilitate spending. So it is always two sides of a coin, and it's very delicate. And while you are taking the decision, you are not only monitoring the local economical environment. No, you have to look more and more globally, and you have to promote for a lot of fields which can be to attract more investors. In a certain time, you remember, Ahmed, that increasing the interest rate have attracted a sort of investments, which you call it the hot money. Okay, but at the time being, what is coming is not hot money. It is industrial investments. So that's why we always have to look to what we need in a certain time, because the global economy is not really stabilized yet. We all believe that there is restructure of the global economy, and we always have to be close to all the blocks and have to find our way how we can merge and how we can benefit, or at least ease down whatever harm can be attacking Egypt. Yeah.
Yes, Engineer Mostafa and Nagary, allow me to be going to the other report of the daily debate for tonight, focusing on the decision by the Egyptian Central Bank to be slashing the interest rates by 2% and how this will be affecting the monetary policy of the Egyptian Central Bank and the Egyptian Ministry of Finance for the future. We'll be having more details in the upcoming report. Stay tuned.